that the NDC administration, like, quote unquote, forgive me, some other parts of the world, has a stigma for making judges feel vulnerable.
Really?
I don't want to go into our history. I don't want to remind us of some of the actions of the PNDC. And when I say that, I'm sure you understand I'm being very charitable. Saying here is that the president has to tread and prove to a lot of us that he's not prosecuting this woman or taking her to the cleaners because of a predetermined mindset and a promise to the NDC camaraderies, before he came to power. So is this literally a campaign promise being fulfilled? Is that what it is? And my thing is that, listen, we need to be very careful. Today it sounds very nice, fantastic, but let it be known that we may have, forgive me, someday an idiot as a president, and we'll need the likes of the judiciary, the likes of the legislature,
right,
to put that idiot in check.
Whenever I say my PENDREAM TV there, them yopo.
Yeah, I'll ask him about that shortly. Good evening, Doc, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Right.
In fact, I'm most grateful to be here, and greetings to your viewers. You're doing fantastic.
Thank you, sir.
Media is very important in our dispensation, and I think that every platform is very important. I'm here today because of this same topic, and I'm not a lawyer, so I'll use plain language, and I'll break some issues down as an ordinary citizen. The biggest thing is that before winning the election, there was what somebody would say a pre-statement by His Excellency the President, who I respect as my president of the country, and I think the lawyers would help me out. I think that the lawyers for the president should have advised him during the campaign trail not to use words like to overhaul the judiciary when he comes. Unfortunately, he did. He made that very clear in public that he felt that the judiciary that allowed Atuforsen to be, as it says, relieved of his charges, that set of justices were not acceptable by his standard, and that he felt that the judiciary should be overhauled. Now, let me also add that this is the same party that Georgina Wood worked with, after Kufuor, or worked with her after Kufuor, and may the soul of the dearly departed rest in peace. I think that Tamils, in his wisdom, felt that truly, for separation of powers to work, there should be merit, and the issues have to be weighty for him to consider suspending a Chief Justice who he felt that Kufuor had brought or selected. Okay. Now, I've stated on some platforms that the NDC administration, like, quote unquote, forgive me, some other parts of the world, has a stigma for making judges feel vulnerable.
Really?
I don't want to go into our history. I don't want to remind us of some of the actions of the PNDC. And when I say that, I'm sure you understand I'm being very charitable, because I want to be very reasonable in my statements. Like I said, I do not want to remind us of some of our past actions as an administration. And I say this with the greatest of respect, and believe in evolution and changes, or as it is, rebranding of a certain party. So I thought that based on recent history of the NDC administration, their relationship with judges would be more cautious. Let me state this in our local parlance. is it there or akano issue so in the sense that they have a certain as it is modem, or they are known for having some bad relationship with judges in this country. Okay, and I would have hoped that the new administration will distance itself gravely, largely from that character of the party. And I think that these actions, being a natural, ordinary man, I am perceiving, and perception is, you can't stop me from what I perceive. My perception is that if I were to add a character to the NDC administration, I would say that yes, the NPP is usually very nice to judges. The NDC is not, and you are at liberty to go into the whys and the no's. But this is me as an ordinary citizen, and looking at the history of the NDC. That is my statement that I'm making now. In addition to that, I believe that under the discretion of the Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, whether right or wrong, same petition, different council of state felt that it was not meritorious, weighty enough to have a president suspend or, as it is, program or table for the graduate. It's like sending somebody off for execution in a very procedurally right way, but because of presidential discretion, and then because of the fact that this one, if it's a crime being committed, we'll say that this was premeditated. Like I said, I'm not a lawyer, but this is premeditated largely because we had clearly a president now who in a few months ago was very clear to all of us Ghanaians that, listen, when I come, though the executive, the parliament, which is the legislative arm, and the judiciary are three arms of government, literally separable in terms of power. It is not 60-15-15. 20-20, which I mean is that 60% executive, 20% judiciary. It's not like that. It's supposed to be literally like 35 across, which makes it, a bit of over 90, 100, like if you get what I'm saying. So like 32.5
but
across.
In this instance, you have a case.
I haven't finished though.
Yes, I'm just raising a point. You have a case. Petitions that have been sent to the presidency. Okay. Based on that, the presidency follows the laid down procedures. Another president constitutionally. That is
where I'm coming in. That listen, and you see what has made this case.
Which one would you prefer?
What has made this case?
I just want viewers to follow. Which one would you prefer? A president who is using his discretionary powers, and somebody who says, let's follow the dictates of the Constitution?
Well, my point here is that supposing if President Mahama had it in his mind and never pronounced anywhere that when I come, I'll overhaul the judiciary, or I'll let me borrow the word execute, or exit the people on the bench.
It needs cleanup. Not from the presidency, but reports.
So hear me. My point is that, was the president prejudiced, biased before his arrival? And as it is he looking at the content of the petition from that angle? And please, like I said, if you walk into a room with supposedly somebody maltreating your mother or father, and you put a gun to the person and shoot and kill, you can make a case that your reaction was based on what you saw. But if you've had a fight in public with that person, and you go and see the same thing happening, you take the same action, trust me, the jurors will not say that this was not premeditated. And these are the lawyers here. So my point I'm saying here is that the president has to tread and prove to a lot of us, that he's not prosecuting this woman or taking her to the cleaners because of a predetermined mindset and a promise to the NDC comrades, before he came to power. So is this literally a campaign promise being fulfilled? Is that what it is? And my thing is that, listen, we need to be very careful. Today it sounds very nice, fantastic, but let it be known that we may have, forgive me, someday an idiot as a president, and we'll need the likes of the judiciary, the likes of the legislature,
right,
to put that idiot in check. So as it is now, the NDC, quote unquote, affiliates or people who felt malaligned by the woman might be pushing this agenda, and it feels right, it tastes right, it seems and looks right. But please, if you are a long-term thinker, a statesman, and you're thinking nationally in the interest of democracy, listen, some of us, though we didn't like the fact that we had a speaker of parliament in the second term of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo from a stock that was different in Nana's ideology. And when I say ideology, I mean that it is common knowledge that Alan Bagman, Right Honorable Alan Bagman, his ideology was literally, let me say, a socialistic party. That is his ideology. He cannot move from that, even if he's speaker. He had been with that party for over 3 decades. Okay? Now, I am saying that the second term of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo panned out better because of those checks. Because there were battles, banters, because the ideology that the speaker had did not agree with Nana Addo, and he fought it on many turfs. And we know, we were in parliament, we know, we saw it. If Nana had a different speaker, the liberty he would have had to do more, quote unquote, things was reduced. And that is essential for democracy. So if people will rise up and think about the entirety of the nation and the fact that, listen, even as it is now, the president literally has the parliament, literally, because he has many seats,
right,
so he's double powerful. And what are the checks and balances, except for the fact that we'll have a woman who, as it is, was selected by the opposition, let me put it that way, and I'm not saying that she will, per her oath, represent Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo's interest, no.
Right.
But I'm saying that even if that is the case, it will be in our interest to have her, if you are nationalistic in your thinking, to have her be able to tell the president in his face that, listen, this thing you are bringing,
right,
your party, all of them are saying yes to it, but I may not be your party member, but president, the intent and spirit behind this legal write-up, it will not be serving the nation's best interest.
All right, I'll come back because you've not really touched on the substantive matter we're discussing.
I'm making my argument based on the fact that,
right,
in totality, and let me add that many of the things people have said were almost not troublesome until I saw the petitioner's lawyers, and I said, oh my goodness, now this thing has moved from an ordinary petition, an ordinary case with little politics. Now I can boldly tell you that, listen, I wouldn't say that Odame is colorless. Odame is colored laterally, horizontally, vertically as MPP, because he was Attorney General for the MPP. That is one case. But I have also added from an observer position that when they brought petitioners, and I saw the likes of Chachuketa, Thaddeus, I was like, oh, now this thing has been politically colored. quietly.
So that is the present case now. So she can make all those claims. That's fine. But the committee members doesn't have the opportunity to respond. And so if you let this process end, you have the opportunity to now hear from the other side. That's when you
she's seeking the sympathy of the public.
No. In local parlance,
they all contribute to that.
You understand?
They all, and you see,
lawyer, I hope you understand what I'm saying. In local parlance, one can sell to obey our need. You have to appreciate that, and I think that as they say, you fight till the wheels fall off, and you know what? I've witnessed so many centuries of victimization, martyrdom, and going back to one of the first travesty was when they put the likes of Daniel in the lion's den. Okay, and then there's also the John the Baptist story where he was cut, his head was chopped off. No, I'm saying all of this in reference to the fact that some well-meaning people were eliminated in life, and for that matter, they were relevant in the sense that they still pointed out some very key things before their death, and I've come to appreciate the need for you to always fight till the end and have it documented. Posterity someday, I'm talking futuristic here, should this woman go down, all the things she is writing today to fight her case will be a guide for another Chief Justice in the future. So it is really about her position, not about herself. And she owes it to the position she holds to fight for the position. And I'll draw attention to the former Chief Justice Sophia Akufu. Listen, I fought for her when she picketed because I felt that it was on very good principle. And people felt that she was NDC, blah, 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 though. She's proving that she was stripped off recently of another position at Legon, largely because she stood her ground and said that, listen, I think that I also owe it to the seat I've occupied before to look at the merit of the case and agree that we should all protect that position, that office. So, I mean, I say a lot of things, not on a personal note. I haven't had a sit-in with Torkorno, is that her name?
Justice, yes.
I haven't. I know her. I voted in favor of her in Parliament, by voice vote to approve her. I do not have any personal relationship with her. But for the position she holds, which I think that we should be guided-minded about it. And in many jurisdictions, your own people sometimes disown you, unfortunately. As they say, prophet is not accepted in his or her own town. So to just add to what my legal friend was saying, your name escapes me, forgive me. Theophilus, yes. Her own may betray her. And in fact, let me be very categorical here that she feels very betrayed, largely because there should have been some iota of, as it is, protection from the people she sat at the bench with. And let me add that I'm even of the school of thought, and let me, in addition to what they have said, that there were 12 apostles, right, of Christ. I think that it could be that some of the stories we've heard about Judas Iscariot may not be true. I have witnessed it in boardroom where people can make somebody a scapegoat when in actuality the person was truly not the person at fault.
Right.
And I say this with the greatest of respect to all the justices, that history may later come to tell us that, hey, one of them maybe was interested in her her current seat, and for that matter, was duking it out, not because she's wrong, but when you eliminate her, then you too, you can take the reign. And this is serious courtyard battle. If you witness what happens in the Chinese...
I want you to consider this in your submissions before we close. Should we see this as an admittance that today in Parliament, the majority leader says that government is preparing to legislate new rules to guide removal of Supreme Court and other superior court, court officials in the country? Is this an admittance that perhaps a lot of people think that Article 146 may perhaps seem a little bit flawed because of the processes that
Not a little bit.
Right.
I think that, like I said...
Is this an admittance that, look, the whole article may need some tweaking?
Well, I mean, you know, one funny thing, and people don't like when I say this, I've heard some people hang the woman for recommending 5 justices, and they felt that, and the same NDC, 5 months ago, 6 months ago, was screaming that based on our population and cases at the Supreme Court, adding additional was unnecessary. I mean, this is after the woman had made that recommendation. And that was one of the technicalities that they used to say no. And here we are, as we are dealing with this case, this matter, in the same sphere. This is what we call concurrent. The president comes with 7, which makes the 5 even, let me say, a joking matter. And I think that this is one of the most misnomers. It doesn't make sense to me that we were on her neck about her recommending 5. And we said it's unheard of. And we are now drinking different Kool-Aid. And now we are accepting that the President of the Republic has recommended 7. Which that one, then what changes? And that is why I think that, listen, even that sin that we were holding her liable for was not even prosecuted. This was premeditated, quote unquote, hoping that she would have gotten 5 justices. It didn't materialize, and now we are shooting this woman, for a sin not fully executed.
I'll give you 2 minutes each.
Right.
So is this an admittance, what I asked?
No, well, I mean, that is simply an acknowledgement.
Well,
last 1 minute.
My whole thing is that I'm happy that the American Embassy's operations has been restored, because I thought it was a bit ridiculous that for a small issue the country will suffer the closure of the embassy, which is like closing Ghana's government.
Right.
I mean, that is what it is. When you close down an embassy in any country, you are closing government business. It has so many serious implications, and I think that you need the parliamentary approval. It's like the right to go to war. The president cannot just wake up and go to war. He needs parliamentary
So I think
approval.
the minister had acted smoothly or swiftly.
He has reversed, and really it was a diversionary tactic. That was I'll give it to him. But he still owes us explanation for the silence, seemingly very silent, on the use of a private jet by the vice president.
All right.
I have nothing against him, but he's too silent. Okay. I want him to come and talk about it.
All right. Thank you so much, gentlemen. I've been in discussion with Dr. Dixon Adomako Kissi. He's a former member of Parliament for Anyaso. We didn't get to speak about the Brian
We'll talk about it.
Because I saw you there. Whether you were acknowledging, whether you were endorsing. Were you? If he's the right candidate,
I will work for him. And I have my reasons. So
Brian Champon.
Yes.
So many issues. So many issues. I know who is waiting.
There's nobody without issue, and it is even the reason why we need him.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Also here tonight has been Theophilus Jimega Junior, a member of the NDC National Communications Team. Sadat Haruna Alasan is a private legal practitioner, also a member of Lawyers in Search of Democracy. Linso. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for passing through, and thank you so much for doing the watching. My name is David Otokuno Ato. We'll see you same time tomorrow. Coming up next is Justice Tapia with the Prime Talk. Please stay.
Dedika ama mamena PENDREAM TV ase. Now so far so good. Say open online portal e wo Ghana. Ah nipa share, nipa follow, nipa comment here. To my best of knowledge, without any biases, PENDREAM TV. I see say a lot of people are moving from the traditional media to the social media. And PENDREAM, you are setting the pace because you bring the issues as they are. And the those are the issues. And then people are not ready for just ordinary endorsement. But people want to hear the issues. What are the issues? What are the possible solutions? So for me, I'm endorsing PENDREAM TV. And I'm recommending say, Obi Biana who feel traditional media and why you're bored with it, I'm going to live up to expectation. Your next last stop is PENDREAM TV.